Hi, hello, welcome to the show. It's the Sarah Silverman podcast today. You know what? Let's just get right into some voicemails.
You left me a message. Now I'm playing it for the world. Let's hear some voicemails.
Hey Sarah, this is Melanie from Massachusetts. I am calling to say thank you because you have increased my general life happiness recently by making me realize that sometimes I am fucking wrong. And that seems really obvious to me now looking back, but you know what? I have spent a lot of time in my life making sure that people don't think I'm wrong. And I love the way that you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm wrong there, and that's okay. I'm going to change my ways. Let's move on. It's really inspiring. I really had thought like I had done so much work, like I try to really be present and in the moment and kind and empathetic. But I'm realizing that like 50% of my fights don't need to happen. They're just me not wanting to be wrong. And that's so dumb. Of course I'm wrong sometimes. We're all wrong sometimes. And like my whole issue with a lot of people is how wrong they are. So why wouldn't I be wrong sometimes? Anyway, it seems so obvious saying it now, but yeah, we're all wrong sometimes. How did you get there? How are you so okay with being wrong? It's wonderful. Thanks for everything. Bye.
Isn't that funny? The big stuff is always simple. I don't know how I got there. But I will say, as common as it is to be wrong, it's just totally bizarre to me how terrified people are at the thought of being wrong. It seems like for some people it's survival. You're either surviving. This is what I learned in therapy. You're either surviving or you're thriving, but you cannot thrive if you're in survival mode, and it's like survival. It's like maybe for some people kind of like a fight or flight thing, like where they'll die if they're wrong. So there's no option. They've got to find a way to be right. It's so odd. Like to me, it's so freeing to realize I'm wrong. I love it. It's so much easier to be wrong than to be fighting with someone who does not think that they're wrong. And it's win-win. It's so bizarre to me that people are afraid to admit they're wrong or to just apologize as though, like they're going to lose something if they're wrong or if they admit they're wrong or if they apologize. It's nothing. It's gain. It's all gain. The person you're apologizing to is fucking delighted, and that feels good. And the argument is over. That feels good. You got to be sincere. You can't be like, I'm sorry. And then later be like, I said I was sorry. That doesn't count. That's the fatal flaw I find gross. You gotta be sincere. You don't lose anything being wrong. Admitting that you're wrong. You don't lose credibility because the person knows that if you're wrong, you're gonna cop to it. It's freedom. It's vulnerable and it's brave, I think. All right, what else?
Hey, Sarah. Gonna try to make a long story short. I was a very proud and happy sex worker for quite a few years. And I had an ex-friend that decided to tell my family about my sex work at a point where I was not ready to tell my family. And one of the most upsetting things that came from this was the initial conversation with my mom when she said to me, I just thought that you were a feminist. And it's been something that sticks with me so much. And I really think that feminism is every woman's right to choose what she does with her own body. But I also really respect my mom and my mom's thoughts and opinions. And I don't know how to go around this and how to talk to her about it, to get her to see it in a new light, I guess. So maybe you have some advice or, I don't know, something kind to say. I love you very much.
I'm sorry that you had that experience with your mom and that your friend outed you in a way that wasn't by your own design. I have a couple close people in my life that are sex workers, and I believe you can absolutely be a sex worker and a feminist. I know it for a fact. Look, for any woman, for any person in any line of work, it's all about boundaries and speaking out. Like weed. Weed was illegal up until recently, and all of us that smoked weed knew it should be legal and it should be regulated, and sex work should be regulated like weed is now. So sex workers are protected and can unionize. The danger of being a sex worker is no more dangerous than just being a woman. I think. This is my opinion. Maybe I should say a non-man. I don't know. Whitney Cummings has a great bit, and I'm not going to try to do the bit because I'll just ruin it. But she makes a great point, which is that male comics, don't need to understand or know that for us, for women comedians, getting to your car after the gig is scary and dangerous. So, I think of comedians as this group that, we love each other. We're close. We're an island of misfit toys. We have an understanding with each other. We're all so different, and yet we have this common bond in comedy. And that's what I love about it. The comedy community is old. I have friends in their 90s. I have friends who are 20. Black, white, Indian, Asian, trans, gay, bi, straight, lesbian, whatever. Every kind of person. Tall, short, little people. Every kind of person can be a comedian. But what bonds us is very unique. So it's really jarring and interesting when Whitney points that out, because it's our brothers in this have never even needed to know. I mean, talk about being dangerous in comedy. For us, the danger is walking to the car after the gig. So how does that tie into being a sex worker? That's just my industry, and it's dangerous for women. So you look, every industry is basically dangerous for women, and hopefully less and less so. I hope you get what you need from your mom. I really do, and I'm trying to think of the magic combination of words you can say to her that will make her accept and support you. But boy, I'm rooting for you. And your sex work does not negate your feminism in any way. And there are people that put sex work in this giant bin with like sex trafficking, which is a heinous crime. Sex trafficking is kidnapping and rape. What you do is consensual transactional sex work. If you think consensual transactional sex should be illegal, I would take a look at most marriages in the top 1% of the food chain, chickie. Think about maybe do that. All right, what else?
Hi, Sarah. My name is Brian. I've been a big fan for many years. I love your podcast. I think you're hilarious and really mindful, so I thought I'd ask your advice. I'm a gay man who was born into a very conservative Roman Catholic family, and from a young age, they quote-unquote taught me that homosexuality is such a sin, and it's comparable to things like bestiality and mental illness, disease, whatnot. And I realized that I couldn't trust them with my heart, my mind, and if I couldn't trust them, then who could I trust? Before I came out, I felt like I couldn't date because I felt like making someone hide their relationship with me was so wrong, and I realized that my trust issues are what's really holding me back now. And so I guess my question to you is, how would you go about trusting people again? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for everything you do. Love you so much. Bye.
Oh, I'm not sure I have the right answer for you. I wish I did, but realizing you can't trust your very religious Catholic fundamentalist family with your heart and mind is makes a lot of sense. And I suppose that's where your trust issues come from, of course. You said that they were. And from, although, the way you express it, you seem to be very clear about it. And that's some, high frequency processing, I would say. What can you do to get over trust issues? Again, I wish I had some magic combination of words for that one. Is this a boring answer? I would say get some good talk therapy, make a few appointments if you got the scratch too, and see who works best. And if you don't have the money for that kind of thing, there are really good online sites for therapy. There might be groups that would touch on this kind of stuff. Maybe not an exact fit, but you're going to meet people who are struggling with trust. You're going to meet people who get where you're coming from. There are so many groups, even if you just went to like an Al-Anon meeting, which isn't your specific thing, you're going to listen. Believe me, there are many recovering Catholics in this country. I say this as an ally. And you're going to find people like you that you can relate to, and I get it. It's like the trust thing, it's like being in a relationship where someone cheats on you that you would never think would cheat on you. And then your next relationships, you've got to contend with that. Well, gee, I didn't think in a million years the last guy would cheat on me. And I don't think this guy would cheat on me. So that means he'll cheat on, you can really make yourself crazy, but you got to take that chance when it comes to love. If you want love is a risk, but that's what makes it precious. It's a risk worth taking, and it's a pain worth enduring. I think. Try to be honest and vulnerable and in the moment with your partner or a prospective partner. And try to find someone who's willing to do the same. Rory and I have kind of similar injuries from relation. We've both been in relationships where we feel like we did something wrong. Like we're always in trouble, and believe me, there are other single gay men who have trust issues, and trust issues that even come from the same place. What was my point with the Rory thing? I think, because you can find someone that really knows what you're going through, and sometimes that could be a love match,
Here's some ads.
The Way Out is a groundbreaking book that introduces a new mind-body approach to healing chronic pain. Rooted in neuroscience and backed by research, The Way Out teaches readers how to rewire their brains to break out of the chronic pain cycle. Boy, this book couldn't have come at a better time for me. I've been suffering from chronic back pain for years. I Got a little boost from the Sarno book, and I'm understanding that it's the mind-body connection and that your brain is sending signals, and you can start to kind of control that. That's what this book is all about. The treatment this book offers was recently tested in a study at the University of Colorado, and 66% of chronic pain patients were either pain-free or nearly pain-free after just 4 weeks. Dr. Gabor Mate says, a sophisticated yet simple approach to healing chronic pain. To put it simply, yes, The Way Out is sold wherever books are sold. Check it out. True Niagen. The struggle is real. There are a lot of stressors out there that affect our health, but True Niagen can help. True Niagen is a supplement that fuels the cell's energy engines, maintains cellular metabolism, and even supports heart health in combination with a healthy lifestyle. With 13 published human clinical studies and backed by Nobel Prize winners, True Niagen is a supplement that's clinically proven to boost NAD levels, an essential coenzyme required for cellular energy and repair. When I first heard that they were going to be sponsors on the show, I actually sent it to my naturopath, whatever. And she said, oh, this stuff is great. You should absolutely take it. So I'm excited about it. And right now, new customers can save 10% on their first purchase by going to trueniagen.com/Sarah and use code Sarah. That's TRUNIGEN.com/Sarah. Code Sarah to save 10% on your first purchase. TrueNiagen.com/Sarah. Code Sarah. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
And we're back.
Hey Sarah, this is Cassandra. I am an art teacher in Louisiana, where I was born and raised. I recently went to a teacher convention in upstate New York, where I met many really great people from all over the continent, and I made some really awesome friends. Something that I noticed about myself, which I guess I haven't noticed before, and I have traveled before, it's just not something I've noticed, but I have a tendency to still say, yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, to grown-ups who are older than I am. And my new friends thought it was funny, and they kind of picked on me a little bit, which was fine. It never created any tension. But when I explained to them that that's just how we were raised in the South, is just you say yes ma'am and yes sir to your elders, which basically is just anyone older than you. It's just a way of teaching children how to show respect for their elders, and that's how I always saw it. But one of my friends looked at me sympathetically and said, it shouldn't have to be that way. And she wasn't being mean, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was just wondering what your thoughts were. All right, love you.
I don't know what my thoughts are. I'm from the North. Well, on one hand, I do think this country has a real problem with not respecting their elders. I mean, that said, I do not think that problem is solved by the monikers ma'am and sir. Monikers? I didn't really use that right. You know what I'm talking about. By calling people ma'am and sir. I'll tell you, the first time you're called ma'am, it is quite jarring, but you got to realize it comes from a nice place, a place that is perceived as respect. But yeah, as a culture, we do not give enough care to the elderly. Maybe it's different in the South. A lot of things are different in the South. I don't know. This one I do not know the answer to, but your response is interesting. Not knowing if it should be a given. You know what? Your friend who said it shouldn't have to be that way. I don't think she was talking about we shouldn't have to respect our elders, but I wonder if it has something to do with that, the revelation of that we've been having as a society of like not making our daughters hug Uncle Schmuckface, We had an uncle, well, I won't say his name, an uncle who we all were made to hug when he would visit, and he felt up all of our tits. I mean, it was like a joke in the family. I don't know that it had a huge effect on us because we had each other to be like, did he touch your boob? Me too, you know. But it's just bizarre that we're only realizing as a progressive society that maybe we shouldn't make our kids hug someone if their instinct is to not hug them. And I wonder if that's what she's talking about a little bit, that kind of area, that kind of gray shit. But I have no idea. I don't know. What else?
Hi, Sarah. It's Larry from Canada here.
Hi, Larry.
So Urshad Manji in her book, Don't Label Me, references you in relation to a story where, to build trust with your audience, you talked about the time that you pooped your pants. I wonder if you'd feel comfortable to share that with a broader audience. Hope all is well. Take care.
That's not exactly right, but yeah, Urshad Manji is a very interesting person and writer, and she's written a few books. But I did not know it was mentioned in her book. But yeah, I think what she's talking about is an episode of I Love You, America. There was an episode where the whole show was about how divided we are, blah, blah, blah. But that we have to look for ourselves in each other as much as we can. And we are all connected in some way. In the way that I felt, one way that we're all connected is, you know, we may be polar opposites, have complete different ideologies, totally different politics, you know, loathe each other's views on things, but we all have an embarrassing story that involves shitting. This may be one thing that binds us. Binds us? So maybe that's what she was talking about. But yes, I think, and I've learned as a comedian, that being vulnerable is a really good way to make people open up to you. And I'm interested in what makes people open and what makes people closed because, yeah, as a comedian, we kind of have to learn that. There's a very thick wall when people's porcupine needles are up and their defenses, that's what I call their defenses are up, but it is like porcupine needles, you can't be open when you're being, when your defenses are up because you're covered in needles. I don't know if that was very articulate, but yeah, as a comedian, you don't want your audience to be that way. You want them open. And so as a comedian and for the hopes of societal change, it does nothing but for people to be closed. You want, and when you're vulnerable, it makes people open. I mean, it's as simple as that. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but yeah.
Here's some ads.
Article. I love Article. I have, when they became sponsors, I got a bed, a gorgeous queen-size bed frame with built-in side tables, and it's stunning, like this beautiful mid-century, dare I say, piece. And I also, even before that, I bought all my dining room chairs there. They're gorgeous. I get compliments on them all the time, and they were so inexpensive. Article furniture is inspired by a variety of modern design aesthetics like mid-century, Scandinavian, industrial, and bohemian. Their team of designers focuses on beautifully crafted pieces, quality materials, and durable construction. Article is able to keep their prices low by cutting out the middleman and selling directly to you. No showrooms, no salespeople, no retail markups. You can save up to 30% over traditional retail prices. Fast, affordable shipping is available across the USA and Canada and is free on orders over $999. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Wow. Go to article.com/Sarah and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/Sarah to get $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more.
And we're back.
Okay, we have a burning question. I'm here with my best friend in the world, Michael. My name is Tristan. We are huge rent heads, unfortunately. And basically our question is, how did you wind up being Alexi Darling in Rent? We just you were already like in the height of your career at this point, doing amazing, a huge star, and then took this random ass bit role as Alexi Darling in Rent the movie by Christopher Columbus. And we're just sort of like, I don't know, we were just wondering what led you to that decision. And what leads comics in general to taking like, well, no, it's money, I guess. I don't know. I just want to hear it from you.
Not.
Like, were you just that big of a rent head that you're just dying to be in Rent? Is that what it was?
And to be clear, we would understand that because we're huge Rent heads and we're big fans of you and we're big fans of your performance as Alexi Darling.
For sure.
I have no recollection.
But we just were talking about it and we were just like, this just seems really random. Like, are we grateful? Yes. But is it random? Also, yes. So any clarity here?
Any insight at all?
Yeah.
Any insight whatsoever would be helpful.
Thank you so much, Sarah Silverman.
We love you.
We really love you. And we also love Rent.
We fucking love Rent.
So.
Okay. Wow, they're so high. There's a few reasons here. Like one reason is before they got the original cast, they auditioned people, and I auditioned for Maureen, the Idina Menzel role, which is hilarious because I sang. I sang for my audition, and then I was offered the only non-singing role. 2, I got to be in Rent, and I only had to shoot 2 days. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be in Rent. I actually was not familiar with Rent, but I knew that it was huge and people loved it. And I just, for some reason, I am a musical theater person, but I hadn't gotten to Rent at that point. 3, so then I shot it. These are not reasons, so I don't know why I'm numbering them. I shot it, but it hadn't come out yet. And I was at the gym, and some like Hollywood mucky muck came over to me and goes, I saw an early cut of Rent, and I just have to say, you are the funniest thing in it. And I was like, oh my God, I was so excited. I'm like, I'm the funniest thing in Rent. Like, I couldn't believe it. And then when I went to the premiere, I learned it was an AIDS drama. So it seemed less impressive that I was the funniest part of an AIDS drama. Another fun fact, I remember walking to the set the first day I shot, and I walked to the set with Idina Menzel, and I was so embarrassed and bummed because I had a huge zit on my face, and the makeup artist was like, I can't cover this. I need to just make it a mole, and I guess she made it a mole. And I was so embarrassed, and I felt like she made me feel guilty about it, And so Idina and I are walking to set, and she's like, that's bullshit. Like, she shouldn't make you feel badly that you have a pimple. Like, it's her job to cover it or do something with it. So that made me feel a little better. And then I was having, like, relationship. I don't know how this came up just in this short walk. But I was having relationship issues, and she was like, look, he fell in love with you because you were a strong, independent woman, and then he pounded you into this, like, meek, subservient mess of a person, and now he's less into you. He was into the independent woman. It's so true. He fell in love with you, and you're not the person. You're not that person now because he shaped you into a puddle on the floor, which you participated in, Sarah. I don't know if she said those exact words, but it really helped me. I was like, saw clearly for the first time. Also, I got to work with, we weren't in a scene together, but again, we were on the second day. The first day was in San Francisco. The next day I shot weeks later was in New York City. And Jesse L. Martin, who's an old friend, and I know him a Law and Order head and everything, and I know him as, Ed Green, but I know him as Jesse Martin because we went to NYU together. I only went to 1 year, but he went to all of them. But he worked all through college, and on the set, we were near Life Cafe around 10th Street and Avenue A, I think. And I go, look at this. We're like 2 blocks away from where you used to wait tables at around the clock. And now you're starring in the Broadway show you originated in. And it was, I don't know, I get very excited about those things. Those are my fun facts for you, rent heads, Michael and Tristan. And I hope that's enough for you. I hope that answers everything you wanted to know and now makes more sense. I don't know. What else?
Hi, Sarah. This is, you don't know me. Why did I start it like that? All right, this is my 4th time trying to do this. I'm just going to roll through if you don't mind. I'm a 21-year-old hostess at the same restaurant for the past 4 years. And tonight I was just screamed at, probably the worst I've ever been screamed at ever. I'm usually pretty good at bouncing back, but I am having a very difficult time with this one. Half of our restaurant's in a tree house, and sometimes it rains in Florida. And I guess this gentleman did not like that it rained, nor liked my response to the rain, which was, I have a table for you inside. He told me I was bullshit. I didn't belong there. He physically moved my hair out of the way of my name tag. I spelled it for him. It's Pamela. It's not that hard. It's like a 40-year-old divorced woman name. But anyway, I'm feeling like this is a sign that I should do something new with my life. Any advice? I'd really appreciate it. Also, I started watching the Sarah Silverman program way too young. Didn't get any of the jokes except for Poop Song, but I love you and I love everything your face is in, so thanks so much. Bye.
Pamela. Hey, I don't know, you're in the service industry. Needless to say, that can suck a bag of vaginas sometimes, but I don't know if it's a sign. If you see it as a sign, then do something else. Try something else. Maybe try something else on your off time. You're 21. You're young. But it's later than you think. So you should be working towards the dream. Do you have a dream? Maybe you want to just work to live, which I respect very much. You want to just have a job to make money so that you can go camping on the weekends and do stuff with friends and have a quality of life. So in that case, is this giving you that? Some people live to work. I don't know that I'm that person. I sometimes dream about being retired, but I also love what I do. I don't know. But you should be working towards the dream, whatever that is, and whether that involves this treehouse restaurant, which sounds very cool, or not. There's never not a reason to be working towards the dream. Treehouse restaurant, though. That does sound really neat. And you're funny. Nothing wrong with being the funny waitress everyone adores. But if you have a dream, you got to chase it. At least with some of your free time. See if you can make it into a job. There's a lot of hours in the day. Not for me. I have to sleep at least 14 hours a day or I'm not myself. Good luck, Pamela. The 21-year-old with the 40-something name. What else?
Hey, Sarah. Distraught 28-year-old Texan here. I've been dating my girlfriend for almost 5 years, and her parents are very sweet, Republican, conservative, Catholic parents. have been really unsupportive of their only daughter in her first serious relationship. And we can't tell if it's because I am also female or if it's because I'm not white. Not that it's our business. I'm personally curious, but
yeah.
Anyway, she's having a hard time, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Am I supposed to be doing anything extra other than being there for her, being respectful to her parents, being patient? She's having a really hard time, and I don't really know what more there is to do. It's not my place, so I just wanted to see what your take on it was, and just let you know that I love your show, and I love you. I love your mindset. You put me in a good mood every day, because I will re-listen to these podcasts. Yeah, so thanks for what you do.
Wow, she sounds amazing. Your reaction is so mature. I've heard of above but beyond. Yeah, patience of an angel. You have. But I think you're right, especially if you have the capacity to just be there for your girlfriend, just be support system in this regard. It is very generous to be patient in the way that you are being patient. They are possibly doing the best they can with what they've been given and what they know. And what they don't know. My hope is that with so many right-wing Catholics, that when this comes right to their front door, it will change them. But it's been a few years now, hasn't it? It's been about 5 years, so I don't know. I have a friend who is black and her wife is white, and her family, actually that's irrelevant. Her family does not accept their marriage and wouldn't even go to their wedding, would not be any part of it. And they're close, she's close with her family, which seems impossible under these circumstances. But I'll tell you why they won't accept her and her marriage and her wife and her relationship. It's because they are so religious that they are terrified she is going to hell. And they're terrified that if they support her in any way, they will go to hell. I mean, I just can't. It's just amazing. Hell, man. The ultimate barrel that religion holds people over. Is that did I hold them over a barrel? Is it really held them over a barrel? I think that makes sense. Hell. They ward hell over you. It's like, just like, it's as silly as Santa Claus. You better behave. Santa Claus is watching. Hell. There is not hell. I promise you, there's not hell. If there is hell, may God strike me dead right now. See? No God. So I don't know. Maybe this is the case for with your girlfriend's parents. I mean, hearing you talk about them is just so lovely and so generous. I have a little bit less patience than you, but I do think that if you can, that you're doing the right thing for the results you hope to get. I'm so sorry about it, for your girlfriend and for you and for them. Boy, are they missing out and living in a just fear. Of course, again, when you are in fear, you make conservative choices. I notice it in myself. It's just the truth. It's a science. But I don't know if this is an analogous but as a Jewish kid in a very Christian, very white town in New Hampshire, I somehow innately knew to make my friends' parents like me and make sure that they knew that I wasn't scary or dangerous for their children to be around. That I wasn't going to be a bad influence on their children or, I knew somehow. I didn't understand the why or the what of it until I was an adult and looked back on it. That I needed the parents to like me for my own survival, kind of, And I wonder if you have that similar instinct. It's funny looking back because my friends' parents would always say, "Are you from New York?" And I'd be like, "What's New York? I'm from here." I only ever knew New Hampshire. But of course, looking back, they in their mind, Jews are from New York, which is understandable for someone who lives in New Hampshire to think. They see that Jews are from New York. But yeah, I'm sorry for this. And needless to say, your ability to be so kind and patient with people not where you're at mentally or progressively or humanely, it probably comes from knowing that there is nothing at all wrong with you being gay or who you love or any of that stuff, of course. Of course you know that. You're in this place and you understand that they are not. And it's kind of you. It's lovely that you are being patient with them. And hopefully for them, there will be a change. But I don't know. It sounds like you're doing everything right. And you are a very special, large-hearted person. I'm glad you called in. Dad, we're rounding down. No, Sarah. We're winding down. This is the time where I say, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts, and check us out on YouTube if you like watching with your shitty eye holes.
Hey, I wanna.
Hey!
Hi.
Hey, ya fucker! Hey!
Subscribe here so you don't miss an episode. And you can click here to watch the last episode if you missed it.